All right, I'm here with David of Signs of the Swarm to talk about To Rid Myself of Truth, the new record that drops August 22nd on Century Media Records. Always a pleasure to see you, man. It's always a pleasure to talk to you about the band, and even a bigger pleasure to listen to some new tracks, which I've definitely had the pleasure of listening to this new album. How's things going?
Everything's going great. I'm very excited to get these singles rolled out. And once again, thank you for having me once again. Really stoked to be back on your channel.
Oh, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I'll be seeing you in person. You guys have a massive North American tour happening. I've been talking to Bradley every time I see him at a show in Toronto, and I always ask him for an update on ticket sales, and because I want to make like I feel invested. I want to make sure this tour is successful because I love you guys and I love the lineup that you guys are putting together. Mental Cruelty are my bros as well, so. I'm like, hey, how's the ticket sales going? Are you guys doing good? Is everything good? Is everything good? Like, and he's like, yeah, we're selling. It's going to be a super successful tour.
Yeah, like everything started like we had our first sellout and we're still like months away. Everything's like over. I don't want to jinx it, but everything's at a great selling point, and I'm very grateful that all the fans are really stoked for like what's coming up. We have really cool VIP set up for this. I'm really excited to tour with all of my friends. I'm friends with almost every single person in every band. So it's going to be a huge homie fest, good vibes. I am so excited.
Looking forward to the Toronto show, man. So let me ask you this, because the first thing that I thought, even before I pressed play on the record, when I got the album and I see the title of the record, I was like, what truth are you trying to rid yourself of?
Honestly, the title came to me because I was trying to figure out why I do this. And I returned to a lot of my previous material, and I noticed that I was talking about things that I don't typically talk about to people. So I felt like that it was a very good title for this record to kind of approach the things that I want to talk about in my life that I really don't talk about to people. So in a sense, I was trying to be a little more open and vulnerable with this record. And I believe that I definitely hit those marks while trying to make everything as brutal and catchy as possible.
In your vision of what Signs of the Swarm needs to be in the future, what role do you see this album playing into that vision?
I believe that this is a good artistic flow for the band. It's a nice stepping stone. Because we usually just focus on writing bangers and just real heavy parts, like clickbait stuff, you know what I mean? Like just trying to get the shock and awe value. This time around, we really wanted to make an album that resonated as songs, where people kind of like hear the chorus once and then whenever it comes around again, it's so catchy that they remember it. And we're trying to get like more crowd involvement, if that makes sense. We just want people to just like scream the lyrics. We want people to really get invested into the band. And I think that this is a great stepping point for the band. Just kind of venturing into actual song structure instead of just having brutally heavy start to finish, you know?
I definitely got that vibe. This is the most mature record, and I know a lot of people throw that word around, but it's the most complete body of work that I've seen from you guys ever. From the album design to the songs to the lyrics to the way the songs are structured individually, how they play off of one another in the overall feel of the album. I think this is one of those records where it tips the scale to where you guys can go next.
Yeah, see, like I'm really hoping that this record will open up some doors to some more festivals for us, just for like the catchiness and the vibes of that, but also staying true to the true Signs of the Swarm sound that's been throughout the entire discography, you know. So I'm very faithful that it's going to do what we want it to do, but at
Yeah,
the same time, I still got a little nerves, you know, like you're trying something new, you know. Some
it's
people
a
aren't gonna
new
like
record.
it.
Like I think that's normal. I also felt this album sonically. I'm not saying you guys went prog, but there's some prog elements in the sound on this album.
See, we tried to show different influences to deathcore, um, like Scars Upon Scars, for example. We tried to demonstrate hardcore influenced deathcore. Um, Chariot, that's definitely more of like the prog deathcore side of things. To rid myself of truth, I think that that's pretty cut and dry. Signs of the Swarm, just true sign sound, just absolutely ass beater start to finish. Um, but yeah, we really wanted to showcase a variety of influences on this record, like Forcing to Forget, for example. Carl singing in that song, and it's more sing heavy than me screaming. And it was the first time that we did that, but we wanted to kind of have like a Whitechapel kin approach where it shows like the influences that we have from the early 90s and late 90s, even to modern metalcore now. Um, but I'm very excited to that we have done that. Uh, just I don't want to put out records that sound the same or put out the same song over and over again to
Mhm.
hit a formula. I feel like that kind of limits the artist. And I'm very glad that we kind of opened up our minds to try to do something really different this time around.
Now, having said that, is there a border to how far you can go without completely changing the DNA of what Signs of the Swarm is?
I feel like that with the growth of the band, that it just comes naturally. So like we tried some things where it did not fit the band, and it felt like we were like doing a disjustice to ourselves if we were to continue that route. And we did unplug some projects that were going to be a part of this record. So we do put up barriers. You know what I mean? We try to stay conscious that Signs of the Swarm is a deathcore tyrant in the industry. And we want to stay that way while also trying to express our artistic and creative abilities.
There's that fine line that you guys have to walk.
Exactly. We gotta stay conscious of that fine line, man.
I, I,
Really.
th I thought you guys achieved that on the album because I'm listening to the record and I can see all the different influences. Like you said, the more hardcore style tracks with the more proggy influence style tracks. But at the end of the day, it was still Signs of the Swarm. It's still deathcore. It's just with a different texture around it. And I think this album could be that gateway that allows future records to dive even deeper into some of these arenas, you know?
Yeah, I do. We really wanted to show the band is very versatile without veering off too far. Um, I like to say that this album is like reminiscent of the vibe of Vital Deprivation, where we were experimenting a bit. We wanted to try some different things. Vital Deprivation being my first record, I'm stating that these were things that the band members were telling me while we were creating that record. But I do like to think that this is reminiscent to Vital Deprivation, where we are trying to try some new routes, try to see what works and what doesn't work, where we could push the band,
Hmm.
um, see how it's recepted. Because at the end of the day, we're proud of what we created. So it's just we have to see what works, as the band continuing its career and trying to grow. Um, like I said, like I really hope that this record opens up some more doors to getting into like some of these bigger American festivals. I really want to break into some of like those really sick like Indonesian festivals, like Hammer Sonic. You know what I mean? Like so many crazy ones out there that I really hope that this opens up some doors and shows that the band is more than just a blunt force. You know?
Yeah, and I think that this album definitely gets that message across. At least to me, it did because I've been listening to you guys for a while, and this album to me felt better shaped. It felt like it had a better sense of purpose, if you know what I mean. It was not.
That's a
It's
great
not
way of
just
putting
heavy
it.
for the for being heavy sake. Like, do you know what I mean? It's still heavy. It's still a heavy record, of course. It's going to be heavy, as Signs of the Swarm. But there's more meat to the potatoes. It's not just potatoes. There's meat there too, you know?
That's what I'm saying, man. Like I feel like that we really tried to captivate and save those heavy moments to be impactful with the song. Like Clouded Retinas, for example. We really wanted Will's feature to shine. So like we didn't want it to be like a dick measuring contest. You know what I mean? Where we built the song organically, and then after the song got to its point where we were going to introduce Will, we were like, it's time to make it as heavy as possible. We're going to give him the easiest t-ball setup possible so he could just go ballistic, you know. I really like to say that we really tried to save those moments throughout the entire record, even with like Iron Sacrament with Phil Bozeman's feature. That's more of like a death metal influence song. So we just didn't want a dick measuring contest in any shape or form. We know these guys are awesome. They're the greatest in the industry. You know what I mean? They're pillars. And we wanted them to show that in our songs, you know? And same thing with like having like the metalcore features in like Fear and Judgment with Jack from 156 and Johnny Crowder from Prison. Um, we really tried to captivate on the moments to make them hit, you know?
Yeah, really serving the songs to the best way possible. Funny that you mentioned Phil and Will, because I was going to ask you about those two guys. What kind of impact as frontmen and as singers have both of them had on you?
He has been my friend for a very long time. Um, Back in the day, whenever I was touring with Signs, I thought that he was going to get the job over me because he submitted a video to the ex drummer Jimmy Pino at the time, and he was very eager to get Will. So I thought that he was going to get the job for Signs, which I'm glad he didn't because he got to where he was supposed to be. You know what I mean? And now he is rewriting the book for our generation. You know, um, Phil, he has been one of the goats that has made me be the style of man that I am. Um, like he is past the pillar in my opinion. He's one of the guys that really broke ground for everybody to walk on. He has influenced me musically. He has become my friend after touring. I'm very grateful to say that I'm friends with everyone that was featured on my record. None of them are industry plants. I text them and I ask them if they wanted to do it, and they're all about it. And I feel like that's very special to go with the aesthetic of the record of To Rid Myself of Truth. I feel like having personal connections with these features was very important. Um,
No, and it comes across, it adds to the whole organic vibe that the record has.
yeah, and I honestly feel like that it comes from a place of just being friends and being like, "Hey, I had this idea, you down?" And everyone being so receptive about it, and I'm just so grateful everything played out the way that it did. You know.
I just want to put it out there in the next record. If you guys want some cowbell, you can always give me a shout, send me a text, whatever it is. I'm more than happy to add my feature to a future record with some cowbell playing.
Yo, that would, fucking some all style parish vibes, dude.
That would
You
be
know what
freaking crazy. It'll never happen, but it's nice to think about it.
I
Oh man, you guys have been touring a lot, and you will continue to be touring a lot because this album, I honestly feel, is going to open a lot of doors that haven't been opened before for you guys. How do you manage that when it comes to a record? You're like, okay, I'm going to do my best vocally on this album, but you also understand that a lot of these songs you're going to have to perform them live, and you've been touring a lot, which gives you a much better understanding of your instrument and how much can you push it and what do you need from it in order to keep it fresh. Do you think about any of this stuff when the time comes to create a new album like this?
honestly, time is always against me whenever we're creating a record. I am the last person to actually get the material. I have the least amount of time to work on it after that. So time is definitely a big battle. So I try to get as much work and mental capacity as possible together to be prepared for that. While I'm on tour, sometimes like I'm trying different vocal styles live to like if it's a mid, I'll try like a little more of a I don't want to say lazy, but less push and like I try to like experiment live a lot because that's my time to really try to hone in on some new shit. Um like it's it's really tough, I will say, just with how hard we tour. Um, because we got done touring, we had maybe a month and a half off, and then went straight into the studio. Got out of the studio, shot music videos, went on Chelsea Grin, got home, shot another music video, went to Europe, came home. Now I have some time off, and like I've been reflecting a lot from that, just being go 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 go, and I definitely got to say it's time is my enemy. But I really try to, with whatever downtime that I have, I try writing ahead of time. A lot of times I'll get inspiration whenever I don't have music. So I'll try to write it and get all those ideas locked in. Then try to like think of like what song like makes me feel that way, and I'll try to apply it. And a lot of the times it doesn't work, and I just have this cool idea that's just sitting in my notepad. You know what I mean? And or like I'll try something and then the guys are like, nah, that ain't it. Like I don't think that that sounds like you, dude. So that's where it's a lot of collaborative process in the studio, 100% with these records. At least Amongst Alone and Empty and To Rid Myself of Truth. Those two records were really, I want to say, pressure inducing, just because the amount of time I had. But I feel like that pressure is very beneficial. It, I want to say, it really helps me make these diamonds. Is the
With with
best way to put it.
with time being your enemy, you being on the road a lot, does that make you appreciate your personal time a lot more?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. Um, whenever I get home, I usually like after a long stretch of like what we just have done. I'll usually take like 2 to 3 weeks off before I go to my secondary job, where like I just make some secondary income to just, I like expensive things, so I got to keep making money even whenever I'm not home. I mean, when but I really take that personal time. I feel like that I owe it to my wife to try to, um, quote unquote, spoil her. Give her undivided attention that she missed out on, see family, uh, hang out with friends. I feel like that I haven't seen a lot of my friends in probably about like my close immediate friends, like within like 2+ years, just because I've been running so hard, and then I'm focusing on spending time with family and my wife and side projects of things like with work. You know what I mean? It's a never ending running for me. And yeah, I really appreciate my personal time whenever I get it. And I still try to give everything that I can, try to be active on socials while I'm home. It's really hard to balance that stuff out, but it does make me appreciate a lot.
In that scale of life, it becomes difficult perhaps at times to balance things out and make sure that you're giving yourself equal amount of time to both the professional side and the personal side. Uh, Being a musician, being a frontman of a band that as busy as you guys are, is it everything that you had hoped it would be, or there is some downsides that come with it that you've learned how to live with?
Um, I never grasped, like, okay, so I have made it past what I thought I would in my career. I will be completely honest about that. Every day that something new comes, I'm like, holy shit, I never would have seen that coming. That wasn't on my bingo card this year. You know what I mean? Like, that's a famous line for all of us in the band, because everyone in the band knows that we are extremely privileged to be doing what we're doing and to have the success that we have. Um, with that being said, there are challenges. We have a lot of sacrifices that we do, like with our personal lives, um, where sometimes it's hard emotionally. And there's we try to like focus on the bright side of the coin than being all negative Nancy about it. Um, because like I remember when there was this post going around where it was talking about the sacrifices of tours, and I'm not sure if you've seen that or not, but I remembered reading it and being like, touring's a choice. It's you're not being forced to do it. Um, you should feel privileged to do it, and that's where like that perception kind of came from. Um, but at the same time, there are many challenges. Like I would have never anticipated like getting kicked out of a green room by Judas Priest. You know what I mean? Like would have never anticipated that in my life, and that's like a weird reality. And I'm just like, okay, well, I'll just go to my bus. But um, just like things like that, or meeting idols that really didn't crack up to what you hoped them to be. Um, don't want to say any names or anything like that, but um, it really there's like those kind of realities that I never thought of that I'd get to experience where like I'm sitting in a room with somebody I looked up to and I'm seeing them be a bad example is the best way to put it.
Yeah, like the worst that they could be, basically.
Yeah, whenever I idolized them, and it's just a shame. And I take those moments and I try to put that into my own personality of
I was
where
gonna say, does
I
that
don't want
change
to be
then?
that.
Yeah, does that then change you? For example, like you're going on this North American tour as the headliner. Does that change how you approach the bands that you're bringing with you on
Absolutely,
the
sir.
tour?
Absolutely. Um, for example, I'm trying to encourage all my bands on the tour package to use my light rig, where that's not a normal, typical thing. I really want everyone to kind of showcase how badass they can look. You know what I mean? There'll obviously be like a scaling process because we're the headliner and their supports. But I want to give like options to be like, hey, like you're can use this at a discounted rate that you would get it if you got it on your own. Build a file, jump in on this with us, look badass, make some more money. I'm trying to bring people up with me while I can. And I really want to be a headliner that does that. And I really want to be a headliner. Like there's been times like on the Decade tour that or the Faces of Death tour, I've made sure that my support bands were more comfortable than I personally was. Just because I want people to know that we're a good time to be around. If it gets around the industry and it's just like, oh man, these guys are kind of pissy and kind of annoying, like, and gimme, gimme, gimme. That's not a good reputation. Like, most of this job is, are you a good hang?
Hmm.
Like, and if you're not a good hang, then no one wants to be around you. And like, that's something that, like, all of us in Signs of the Swarm are very conscious of. And we want to show that the old ways that have been are no longer how it needs to be. And realistically, being a part of the change is better being than part of the problem. And
I agree with you.
I'd love to be one of the bands that do that because there have been bands like Whitechapel, Thy Art is Murder. Um, I could go on and on, but like where they have showed us such great hospitality where it is like, I want to be like these guys. You know what I mean? Like, I want people to be like, I respect them because they take care of us, not because of our craft, just because we're good people and we try to show that to the people that we're around.
I'm with you on this 100%. As you, I've met people that I had as idols and then they didn't turn out to be what I had hoped them to be, and it's like heartbreaking to a certain degree.
Yeah.
I
Like,
would
honestly,
say.
there's some bands that I can't even listen to their music anymore.
Yeah, it just leaves you with a very sour taste in your mouth, and because you feel like you're being treated less than what you're worth, and less than your
Not
worth is
even
just a
that, just
pure
not
human
even
being, you know?
treated like it. Yeah, exactly. It's like not being treated like a human being sometimes. You know what I mean? Or um the God complex. That shit's crazy.
Yeah, and I was just gonna say, every time we run into each other at a show somewhere, wherever, like you've been always super kind to me. You guys have been nothing but pure gentlemen, all of you. And to me, that goes always a very long way because it's like, people tend to forget. I always say this at work. I only get an email from my boss when shit goes sideways. I never get an email from my boss when I'm doing a good job. And I tend to treat people the other way around. I'm more in terms of recognizing when people do good and are good versus the ones that do bad, because I don't want to reflect on the negative. I rather reflect on the positive. And with you guys, I've always had positive experiences. And we've ran into each other at shows where shit is going sideways for you guys. Either something is not working or whatever. Like anybody who's been on the road on tour, you know how it goes. It's crazy out there. It's a wild, wild west out there.
Right.
So I would be more than expecting you to be like, hey, not now, no time, this, that. No, man, that's never happened, regardless of the chaos that's been happening around you.
Yeah, like we really like to try to treat everyone as people, you know, like because at the end of the day, we're just some dudes making music. You know what I mean? Like that's really it. Like people like what I do and I just yell at them all day. You know what I mean? Like um so really like we're just lucky, you know? And we are very conscious of that and we are just like this in our day-to-day lives. You know what I mean? So like it kind of shows that whenever you're just around us, you know, because like none of us think we're too good for somebody, you know, or above someone or something like that. Like even like in any scenario, really, I can't even think of one where it's weird, you know.
Yeah, I know you guys are a true class, and I'm assuming you're going to be hitting the stage on this North American tour. Are you upgrading? I was going to say I'm assuming you're going to be bringing your Matrix style attire, but are you upgrading your? I thought it was fucking cool, man. Like when you went on stage,
Thanks.
I was like, holy shit, this
I'm not
dude is
gonna lie,
like,
somebody stole my outfit after that show.
really?
Yep, someone stole just mine.
So
Literally,
there's some
someone
dude
came in.
walking around now looking like fucking
I
you.
don't know. I don't know. I've been looking on eBay occasionally and like shit like that, but it was the first time where someone broke into our green room and stole something, and they stole just my stage outfit.
Wow,
Yeah, very very surreal. Because
that
I
is
never thought,
crazy.
like I said, like not on my bingo card, man. Would have never thought that we got to the point where there's weird shit that happens like that, you know?
Wow.
Um,
You look badass, man. I hope you
Thanks.
don't let that deter you. You need to bring
Oh
that look
no, no,
back.
no. Different vibes. You know what I mean? Like we'll end up having like some cool outfit ideas, you know, like we try to come together, but like the whole aesthetic of this next headline tour has been upgraded. We have the biggest light rig that we've ever used planned. We have great staff planned. Um,
You guys are playing at bigger venues too than what you played
yeah,
last time.
honestly, I was very surprised. I was very surprised. Like, I'm not saying I'm not confident in my band or any of the bands that are supporting us. But I was just kind of anticipating like the same, you know what I mean? But everything's a bigger room. And the tickets are selling better than last time. And I'm just
Yeah.
like, shit, last time was crazy. So this is about to be fucking sick, you know?
Yeah, I think this is going to be a great one. I was really excited when I saw the lineup, and like I said, I see Bradley almost like every show.
Oh
At
yeah.
at least once a week, we run into each other at a show in Toronto. I'm always asking for updates because I'm invested in you guys. I want you guys to be successful because I feel like you're doing great. You're great people. You're doing great. Every record, you guys are pushing the envelope of, to me at least, what deathcore can be. Not just what deathcore is, but what can be. And I,
See,
I
I feel like
applaud you
that,
guys
like
for
you
that.
saying that, it makes me think like we've already done what deathcore is so many times. Where like I feel like being a part of opening up some doors and maybe getting some inspiration to others to think of other ways to do it is very important for the growth of our genre. Um, Whenever we like did Amongst the Low and Empty, we were like everyone's doing the symphonic stuff. We're not doing a single one. You know, not one song is going to have that. Um, so we tried to have like that whole idea but as a different idea for this record, and it's like what can we do to push the boundaries a little bit more, and definitely I definitely believe we showcase that very well.
100%. I couldn't have said it better myself. David, man, thank you very much for your time. And I'll see you in Toronto.
I'll see you in Toronto, my man. I'll catch you.
And if you need a bouncer to stick around your green room so nobody steals any of your shit, give me a holler.
Dude, fucking, I might take you up on that. Toronto gets a little crazy
It
sometimes.
does get a little crazy, but at least this time you guys are not at Lee's Palace, so that's
Oh
better.
yeah.
So
I
that's
mean,
better.
like that place is iconic though. You know what
It
I mean?
is.
So
It
I
is.
was very privileged to play there, but I'm very excited to get my feet somewhere else, you know?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. And it's a bigger venue, bigger sound. You guys are going to be fine. I'm super excited. By the way, for those that don't know, the tour kicks off in October in Montreal. The second date is Toronto. So I'm going to get you guys really fresh on the second night of the tour. Looking forward to it. Congratulations. The record drops August 22nd on Century Media. I'll have links in the description of this video for people to go pre-order and pick it up. And once again, I'll see you in Toronto, man.
I'll see you in Toronto. Thanks again for having me, my man.
Oh, my pleasure, man. Thank you.
No problem.